Hey y'all, I'm Brooke Hoover, a Louisiana native, actor, writer, and comedian. I've lost 100 pounds through diet and exercise, or shall I say, lifestyle changes. My 20-year and counting health journey has taught me that just like taking a diet pill for weight loss, body positivity doesn't magically happen overnight. I'm working on regaining my self-esteem and rekindling my love affair with Cajun and Southern comfort food in a healthier way, all the while juggling eating as clean as I can, reestablishing myself in the entertainment industry, which, as we know, is historically fat-phobic, all the while showing my inner fat girl some love. That's fat with a PH. Pretty hot and tempting. Let me tell y'all a tale or two. Hey everyone, it's the Who's Dat Fat Girl podcast, and today we have a very special guest. I will let her introduce herself, but Rita Savoia, she's a certified nutritionist, functional breathing coach, yoga instructor, workplace well-being consultant, a speaker, a mental health and longevity advocate, and we have something kind of shared in common. We both have or have had PCOS. Y'all have heard me talk a lot about polycystic ovarian syndrome, and Rita can touch on some of that, but I will let Rita introduce herself. Thanks so much
Hi.
for being on.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be doing this and to be sharing my experiences and knowledge with your community because if I did it, which I did, I had PCOS and I totally reversed it. I wasn't actually looking at reversing it. I was actually looking at my blood sugar levels because I was pre-diabetic, I was one of those skinny diabetics and pre-diabetics, brain fog, all kinds of digestive issues. And I actually looked at that and tried to heal that. And lo and behold, my body healed other parts of things that were not working, which was a shocker when I did my ultrasound and I was going for my annual ultrasound, looking up for PCOS because of my irregular menses. And I still have the report. And that was my aha moment, really, when the report showed there are no signs of ovarian cysts. And that's when I was like, wow, your body is so beautiful. It's such an amazing machine that if you actually remove the interference, whatever that is for you, whether it's toxins, chemical toxins in your food, in your products, care products, or toxic relationships, right? All of that stuff, remove that interference, eat healthy, and then your body, you allow it to naturally heal, that innate intelligence to not only heal one thing, because your body works as a system to heal other systems in your body. And that's why I do what I do and I love, because if I did it, then anybody can do it, right? So it was such an amazing aha moment for me.
Awesome. And Rita, can you tell us a little bit about your website, where people can find you, some specific offerings that you provide, services?
Yes. Yes, of course, I would be glad to. So my website is Savoia, SAV as in Victor, OIA, selfcare.com. And you'll find all kinds of freebies in there, free resources for women, free resources for anybody really looking to really up level their health. And the special promotion that I will have for your community is a 50% discount. So
Wow.
50 by using the promo code BREATHE, all in capital letters, Breathe 50 for the new moon and full moon online breathwork experiences that are awesome, by the way, that are happening every new moon and full moon. So they get that discount for being listening and watching this.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for that. And I will also be posting the link, so people can just click on it on my Instagram, website, podcast
Amazing.
description, all that. So people will definitely be able to find you. So, Rita, we're specifically, and we were just saying we did not plan this, but we're both wearing
I
red.
know.
This episode will be airing right before, like, right around Hanukkah and right before the Christmas madness, the holiday hecticness. Like, people put a lot of like pressure on the holidays. There is pressure on the holidays, and the simple thing of breath can really help us. I mean, as an actor, I know a little bit more about breath work than the average bear, but definitely not as much as you, because you're specifically a coach in this. And I'm wondering if you can kind of lead us through, help us figure out how to handle some craziness upcoming and just in general, whether it's the holidays or not, with the breath.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so we could do a little assessment to just check whether or not we are breathing properly. Do you want to do that first, or do you
Sure.
want to get straight into the techniques?
Let's assess if we're like breathing correctly first.
Yeah, yeah, I want to call it functional breathing. So let's go. So the way it's going to work, it's a really easy assessment. So we're just going to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose as you normally would. We're going to do that 3 times. And then on the third time, once you've exhaled fully, I invite you. So, Brooke, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand or put up your finger so I know when to start the actual timing. But I'm going to invite you to hold the breath at the bottom of the breath. So once you've
Right.
exhaled fully, hold your breath at the bottom of the breath. You just raise your hand so I know when to start the clock. And then when you get that urge to breathe, and it should be a natural urge, not oh my god, I'm
Mhm.
dying, right? A natural urge to breathe. Then you just raise your hand again, and I'll stop, and then I'll let you know what the results are.
Okay, awesome. So
Want
this
to do
is
that
after the third
after
exhale.
the third exhale? Correct.
Okay.
So let's loosen up a little bit, stand up straight, and let's inhale through the nose and exhale in and out. Normal breaths. Okay, normal breath in. And as you exhale, at the bottom of that exhale, hold the breath and just let me know when you start holding. Beautiful. And just hold the breath for as long as you can until you get the urge to breathe. And just raise your hand one more time when you get. Okay. All right. So you got 14.14 seconds.
Okay. I don't know what.
Okay. Okay, so no harm here because there's obviously room for improvement, and I still don't get the high score either. So there was a study, and I can link the study as well in 2017. And what they found was that if you're breathing, so this is your tolerance, how much CO2 you can actually tolerate, which is the breath hold, right? So the more you can tolerate CO2, the better your breathing habits, the better your functional breathing, right? The
Mhm.
less you can tolerate, that's an indication that you're not breathing as optimally as you could be.
Mhm.
So less than 25 is considered that improper sort of breathing, that room for improvement. And more than 25 is considered that functional breathing. So what does this mean? Don't get alarmed or anything like that, because when I first started doing it, I was at 10 and I was like, what? I'm this like holistic, I do yoga and I do breathing and yoga and I'm still getting 10. So it really just means that either a few of the symptoms that you could be displaying, basically mouth breathing when you're not supposed to be mouth breathing. And most of us should be nasal breathing 99% of the times. I always say that your mouth is for kissing and eating and really not breathing. It's not a primary instrument for breathing. Your nose is. And I know many of us don't like our noses, but it's so intricately formed that it's got all of these amazing things that are helping you, even our nose hairs, right? They
Mhm.
actually help us filter that air, moisten that air, right? We actually get more resistance. So we're actually taking in more better quality air into our lungs, right?
Then I should have a lot
Mouth
'cause I have a lot of nose hairs.
yeah. I know, right? Most of us are doing this incorrectly because we're mouth breathing. So about 50, 60% of us are mouth breathing. So it could be that. You could be using your chest as opposed to your diaphragm when
Mhm.
you are not breathing properly. And that chest, that upper chest breathing, what does it do? It actually signals to that sympathetic nervous system, part of our nervous system, which is that
Mhm.
fight or flight, that we're in danger. Like, holy shit, something is going to happen to us. And we're actually causing stress just by our breath, by the way we breathe, right? So that upper chest breathing, we might be breathing really fast. So the slower we breathe, the better it is. Think of animals. There was a study done by yogis, and what they found was those animals that breathe really slow, it's actually connected to longevity. The slower you breathe, the longer you live. And it makes sense, right? We only have a limited number of breaths. So if we use
Mhm.
them up, guess what? Like, we're actually not extending our life, our life. Think of a turtle, breathes really, really slow, well, and just lives forever. A dog, not as slow, more fast, that panting, and they don't live as long, of course. So it could be that fast upper chest breathing and noisy, right? If you seem to yawn a lot or sigh, a lot of sighs and a lot of yawns, that's your body indicating, really reminding you, hey, take a deep breath, okay? Because you're not using your diaphragm. So that's the urge that your body signals to you to take that breath. So all these little signs and symptoms are actually telling us. Snoring is another one as well, are telling us that we're not properly breathing. Because if we are mouth breathing during the day, guess what? We're going to be mouth breathing at night, and that usually causes that snoring. Usually, it's not always. You could have deviated septum or some sort of structural issues. But if you don't, then it could be your improper breathing during the day is causing that snoring in the evening. So that's the assessment. So most of us are, so don't fear, most of us are under that 25-second mark. But there is a solution, right? So I don't just tell you that we have an issue. The solution is to actually be breathing light. So I call this it's not me actually, it's Oxygen Advantage that calls this LSD breathing. L for light. So it needs to be very light in terms of almost imperceptible. So if we had a feather right under your nostrils, that feather wouldn't be moving. And there's a legend that was the final test of the samurai. That's when they would get, like, their sword, if they actually pass this test where the feather wouldn't move. So that breath has to be super light, right? It has to be very deep. But I don't mean, this is a huge misconception, Brooke, that I would love everybody to know, that taking a deep breath is actually causing detrimental harm. It's actually causing the opposite. We are starving ourselves of oxygen when we do that. We actually want to take that deep breath with the diaphragm. So deep into the diaphragm by allowing the belly, engaging that belly and the rib cage and the diaphragm. That's what we mean by deep. Not we mean the deep into our diaphragmatic breath. As you know, the diaphragm is super, super amazing. It's one of the largest muscles we have for breathing. It's got the largest number of lymph nodes. So if you use the diaphragm, you're actually detoxing your body every single breath you take. Hence why our breath smells, right? And even for our weight management people, or weight loss people out there, did you know that 8 out of, when you wonder where does the breath, where does your fat go when you release it, right? And you think, yes, you poop it out, you pee it out, and it turns into muscle. 80% of it is actually expelled through our breath. So imagine if yeah, I know, right? Imagine if we do this proper breathing every single day, we're actually helping our weight management strategy, right? Or our weight loss goals. Super cool. So we want to be breathing light, deep, and slow as possible, right? And this is where we can actually get into some of the techniques for the holidays and beyond, of course. Oh, but one last thing, probably the most important thing, is nasal breathing. We want to be breathing through our nose as much as possible. Again, as we said, it's made for breathing, but it also releases. So every time we do nasal breathing, we actually produce nitric oxide. Have you heard of nitric oxide?
Yes.
Yeah, so super, super cool molecule. Most people say no. So I always say, have you heard of Viagra? And they're like, yeah, well, that's what they use in Viagra. Why? It opens up capillaries, sends fresh oxygenated blood to that area, but you can actually produce nitric oxide every time you nasal breathe. And that doesn't happen when you're mouth breathing. And nitric oxide is one of my favorite molecules. It's an antibacterial, antiviral, super, super powerful. They are using it to help recover from COVID. So they're giving it to COVID patients.
Right.
When we have this ability at our nose tip for free, just by nasal breathing. And
I
one
love
quick
that you
way.
have a favorite molecule. First off, I love that you're like, I have a favorite molecule. I
I
love
do.
that.
I'm such a nerd. I'm a geek. I know. But
That's
yeah.
great.
Because the more I research it, the more I'm like, wow, it's so powerful. I love this molecule. So, and one way to actually increase that, by some research says 7%, 7 times more, not percent, 7 times more. Some research says 15 times more, is actually by humming, Brooke. Can you believe that?
I
If
can't
we
actually, but yeah.
Because don't you feel so good when you're humming your favorite song? And that's why kids are always so happy,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're always walking around humming and doing their thing. And then we sort of lose that as we grow and become boring. And, we just don't enjoy life as much as we used to as
Yeah.
kids.
I was
But
humming the other day at the dentist office. I was humming Don't Stop Believing as he ripped out one of my teeth because I'm going through an implant process. and I was humming "Don't Stop Believing," and it was rather soothing for a pretty.
Yes.
It was fun.
Yes, because you release that nitric oxide. So, yes. So, going to some of the techniques that we can use, humming is one of them. So, if you're in
Nice.
line, frustrated because you just spent, I don't know how many hours at the mall shopping for your loved one, and you find that there's this massive line in front of you, hum your favorite song. Yes, you might look weird. Yes, they might think, which song is she humming or anything like that, but humming will actually help with that frustration.
Hmm.
That's all you need to do. Just inhale through the nose and hum the exhales.
Hmm.
Super cool, super fun, and really teach your kids as well, maybe before a test or before a presentation, or if they come into this, tense situation, ask them to hum their favorite song. I had a headache the other day, and I don't get them too often, and I honestly don't take meds for it,
Right.
rarely. And so I just concentrated in that area and I started humming towards that area. And there's actually research now that just by our thought alone, as you know, the power of thought
Mhm.
can actually bring that fresh oxygenated blood to that area. And it really helped the humming. So I love humming. Another thing you can do if you're super frustrated, overwhelmed, anxious about the holidays and beyond, really, maybe the new year, you're like, oh, I need a New Year's resolution, freaking out about all of these things, is what's called this on. So I'm going to teach you some in on like on the spot, and then some offline ones that you can do like while you're doing other things, which you can incorporate into your daily habits or routine. So another one, like on the spot, is called the psychological side. So this is actually from Andrew Huberman, and he's my favorite neuroscientist. He's super, super knowledgeable, and it just like explains things so beautifully. So he talks about the psychological side. And so what this is on the spot when you're feeling super overwhelmed, you can literally signal to that other part of the nervous system, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest, digest, and heal. Actually, Brooke, this is another misconception. We cannot heal our bodies if we are super stressed, right?
Right.
Because think about it, your body's going to prioritize if you signal it that it is under crazy amounts of stress, right? And our brain cannot perceive real stress versus perceived stress. So
Hmm.
even though you're not being chased by anybody or attacked, or it's a deadline, let's say, or it's a conversation, or it's a toxic relationship that you're stressed about, your brain is going to release the same cascade of chemicals, like those stress hormones, to help you fight that, as if you were being chased and by someone, right? As if you were in real physical and danger. So that's the thing. So we want to signal to that other side, to that parasympathetic nervous system, which is the only place we can really heal, and the breath can allow us to do that, right? So we do that by taking 2 quick sips through our inhales of breath. So 2 inhales and then 1 exhale through the mouth. And I know I said that we shouldn't be breathing through the mouth, but there are like little things in short period of time that will actually be okay, right?
Right.
So we're going to
And
do
it's an
in.
exercise. It's a technique. So.
Exactly. So it's not something we're doing, 24/7.
Mhm.
So we're going to do two, and this is called the psychological sigh. So we're going to inhale twice and then, so it sounds something like, yeah. And
Mhm.
think about it. Doesn't this sound exactly when you're over crying and you're like,
Exactly.
so our body does that naturally, but he's sort of
Yeah.
revisited it in a way that, okay, let's use it to calm ourselves. So we do this naturally to calm ourselves. So why
Mhm.
not use it? But again, if you're in line and you're freaking out and you got things to do, or you have a bunch of things to do before for your beautiful dinner that you're organizing for everyone, stop, do this 3 times, and you will notice. I actually just noticed right now myself calming, and I did it once. So if you do it 3 times, you'll just automatically calm down and not have that freak out moment that maybe you would otherwise have. So that's called the psychological side. Another one of my favorite: focus, concentration, attention. Okay, so you're at the mall and you have all these gifts you haven't written down, but you know that you want to buy these gifts and you're probably your brain is scattered everywhere. There is a really cool technique that the Navy SEAL, so the US
Oh,
Navy
wow.
SEAL,
Yeah.
exactly. If it's good enough for them, it's going to be good enough for us, right? That they use to concentrate, particularly their snipers before they're actually going to pull the trigger. Now, that is a crazy amount of attention that they need, right? So, this is called box breathing. So, what we're going to
Mhm.
do is we're going to draw, I don't know if you've heard of this. So, we're going to draw a box, an imaginary box with our breath. So, we're going to breathe in for 4 counts, we're going to hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and then exhale for 4. And then we're going to sort of keep going around the box until you feel calm, cool, and collected, right? Or your thoughts and everywhere else. And then you head for the mall or you head for the stores, right? So this is a really cool way to concentrate. I don't know if you want to do it now or if you want to just move on to another one.
I say let's do one round of it, even though I know it's supposed to be three or more. But I do love box breathing. I think that's funny that we also learned that in acting school. So,
Ah,
but then again, acting
nice.
school is very much like training for the Navy SEALs. Is very I, stupid to equate it, but tell any acting
Sure.
professor that they think they're just as important as a Navy SEAL. But yeah, let's do one round. That way, people can take a little break while they're listening to the podcast and like do it with us. Even.
Yes, reset. Exactly. Okay, great. So again, we want to either sit with our spine straight or stand with our spine straight. If you feel safe to do so and you can do it, you can even lower your eyes. Okay, so lower that gaze or even close your eyes to really tune out the outer world and really focus in. So we're going to breathe in for 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Nice. Beautiful. So then you just sort of keep going, not sort of, you would just keep going and going until you either feel more calm or you sort of, you run out of time, right? That you only have 3 minutes to do it or 2 minutes to do it. So that's again something really, really interesting. Another one that I love is to balance. Let's say you're feeling a bit off, like, and you want to sort of balance that and you want to feel a little bit more energized or a little bit more calm. It's
Hmm.
called the alternate nostril breathing technique. So
Hmm.
we have these two beautiful nostrils, and this is actually from the yogic tradition of pranayama, of breathing. So what we can do is anytime, so think of your car, the pedal and the brake, right? So
Hmm.
anytime you want to sort of slow things down and relax and bring in that calmness, that feeling of calmness, you would actually breathe through the left nostril. So you plug the
Okay.
right and breathe in through the left. Okay, so think of a car, right? It's the left foot that goes on the brake. So that's the brake. You want to slow down and chill out. So that's the left nostril. If you want to energize yourself and sort of, maybe before a presentation or before a meeting or just anything, you need some energy, then it's the right nostril that you want to breathe. And again, think of the
Ah,
gas pedal. You press the
okay.
gas pedal with your right foot, right nostril, left is the brake. So again, you would actually plug your left nostril and then breathe in through the right. So do a couple of rounds of those to get that energy. If you want a balance of both, a bit of calmness, sort of balance both sides of the nervous system, then you would alternate from one nostril, you would alternate and go to the next one.
Okay.
Yes.
So alternate it within one cycle, such as like one in through the left, hold, and then one like then right.
Exactly. So you
Okay.
want to do that? You want to quickly
Yeah, let's do
do
one
that?
round of balancing both nostrils.
Exactly. All right. Okay. So again, we're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose and let it go. In, out. Let's plug the right nostril, which whatever finger you feel comfortable. Breathe in through the left. Plug the left. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Plug the right. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Plug the left. Exhale through the right. One more in through the right. Plug the right. Exhale through the left. Beautiful. Very nice.
We're
And
good.
I will give you one last one to help with digestion, to
Okay.
help you. Now, this should be done on an empty stomach. So it really gets that pump going as well and waking up those digestive organs. So this is called the breath of fire. So what we want to do is we want to actually engage the belly as much as possible. And really, if you focus on only the exhales, it's much easier. So don't worry about the inhales. They'll happen naturally. So just
Mhm.
focus on the exhales. And remember the proper way of breathing when we inhale, and we do this, most of us do this incorrectly. When we inhale, we actually want to inflate the belly. This is the first time probably people are hearing, you want me to stick my belly out? Yes, I do. Even though society always tells us to bring it in, right? Stick it in.
Yeah, it's so
Exactly. No, I want you to bring it out, stick it out. So when we inhale, we're going to actually stick the belly out. When we exhale, we pull that belly button towards the spine. But for this particular exercise, let's just focus on pulling that belly button towards the spine, right? So we're going to breathe out, exhale as if we have some snot in our nose and we want to get rid of it. So it's like, sometimes snot does come out, so it's okay. So maybe just make sure your nose is clean before you do this. So this is why we want to breathe as fast as we can and as aggressive as we can and focus on the exhale. So really, we're building that fire in the belly. Let's try
okay.
that together. Beautiful. I can see from your throat that you're doing it right. Amazing. Yes. Yeah. So you can do that right before you're about to eat, just to get those juices going, that fire in the belly going, so that you can digest all that food properly. And another one too, right before eating, is I love how the simple grace before meals, or just a little bit of gratitude right before your meal,
Mhm.
really allows your system, your nervous system, the digestive nervous system and the
Mhm.
parasympathetic nervous systems to slow down, right? And
Right.
really allow those enzymes to be produced, so then again you break down that food and allow those nutrients to be assimilated. So just a couple of minutes, literally just sit down. I don't need you to go on full out prayer, but just a couple of minutes just to be thankful. And of course, gratitude is one of the highest vibrating emotions anyway. So you're bringing in
Yes.
all of that goodness as well. So just a couple of breaths, deep breaths in through the nose and then out, and just maybe a little gratitude, thanking whoever made the dish for you, or even the restaurant, wherever you're at, just sort of thanking that you have this food in front of you. So that's my last technique. But overall, Brooke, overall, anytime we elongate, we extend the exhale,
Mhm.
we're bringing in that parasympathetic nerve activation. We're bringing in that calmness into our lives. So even if all of these seem overwhelming to some of you and maybe too complicated or anything like that, just literally all you need to remember, if it's one thing you remember after this podcast, is as long as you're extending the exhales, then you are telling your body that you're safe, you're supported, you're okay.
Yes. And one thing to comment on that, I've heard this before, and you can probably vouch for this and comment on it. When you go to the doctor's office, they're always like, okay, relax, take a deep breath. And that's pretty inaccurate, because they're essentially saying focus on taking a deep breath in, but they're not talking about
I know.
actually having a longer exhale to really soothe you. And that's one thing that really frustrates me, because it's a surefire way to coach people incorrectly, if you will.
100%. And then they wonder why their blood pressure is super high when you go to the doctor's office.
Because you're like sucking it all
Yeah.
in instead of
Exactly.
gently
Because I'm
letting
gonna
it.
go a little nerdy and geeky on you here, but it's actually the release, okay, of carbon dioxide that
Mhm.
signals to the brain to or hemoglobin to release oxygen. So it's that amount, that buildup, not the release, I'm sorry, the buildup of
Mhm.
carbon dioxide that signals to the brain to release oxygen to the cells, tissues, muscles, organs, and systems. So it's not the it's not the inhales, it's not the oxygen that you take in, it's actually how much carbon dioxide you hold.
Mhm.
Correct. So the slower we breathe, right? The more we extend those exhales, the more we breathe light with that diaphragm, the more we're actually keeping that carbon dioxide into the system.
Mhm. I love
Yes.
when you go quote unquote nerdy geeky, as you say. I love that. It means you're passionate and you're knowledgeable.
Oh, thank you.
I think those are some great techniques. And I mean, I don't want to speak for my listeners, but I know like the fan base, the listener base is are not the type of people who would really care what people think. Like, let's hope. But guys, if you are worried, like, oh, I might look crazy at the store doing this, um, I think like the people who might look at you crazy, you're gonna see them for like 5 minutes. You're living with yourself for the rest of your life. So
Yes.
do some crazy stuff. Like it's not gonna be the
Exactly.
craziest stuff that ever existed in the world. So I say let's go
Yeah,
crazy and
exactly. You can actually hum the song that's playing, right?
exactly.
In the
All I Want
actual
for
store.
Christmas was the song Mariah Carey. Like, just I actually personally love that song. All I want for
Me
Christmas.
too. Do you know how much money she makes from that every single year? It's like a
I,
ridiculous amount, Brooke. I think
oh,
it's in the millions every single
wow,
year.
wow. Well, I mean, like, I sound crazy. She kind of deserves it because that song is
I
nuts.
know.
But that is nuts. I mean, I wish I would have thought about it, but you don't want to hear me. You'll just hear me hum if you're in line at Macy's with me. So Rita, thank you so much for that. And this is something that we like to do on the Who's Dat Fat Girl podcast when we have a guest. We kind of like tie in some fatness, that's fat with a PH, as y'all know, pretty hot and tempting, where we talk about some of kind of the themes of the show in general. So Rita, do you have like a favorite childhood memory associated with food that you would like to share or talk about?
Oh, yeah, how about, like, every single Sunday? So,
Yeah.
I come from a very traditional Italian family, so
Oh, nice.
Sundays at 2 p.m. Oh, it's just one of my favorite, food memories because there was always, like, such a huge spread as if it's Christmas or, a holiday, but it was every single Sunday at 2 p.m., and I just remember because I was a teenager waking up at probably, like, 1:50, just waking up to this beautiful beautiful smell of like either sauce or meat. I used to eat meat back then, or just like this. That's what used to wake me up, was the smell of just such amazing, yummy food. So shout out to my mom for all of these amazing Sunday afternoon spreads.
Hey, Sunday dinner. I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not Italian. I'm Cajun, but because I live in New Jersey, a lot of my friends are Italian, and I'm always like, Sunday dinner. I love that idea,
Yes.
y'all. It's so, and like the feast of the seven, is it the seven fishes or the 11 fishes for feast?
It depends. Yeah.
However many fish you could get. I love that too. Now, I really don't like to label food as bad food or good food, but clearly I do believe there are foods that are better for you and there are foods that
Right.
are not so good for you, like for your body. And as we know with PCOS, there's foods that support and there's foods that don't support. Throw all that aside. Do you happen to have a favorite quote unquote guilty pleasure food?
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually have two. So chips,
Okay.
right? But I guess you can get the oven baked and really non-GMO, some really good ones. So maybe that might not fall under that. But truffle fries, truffle
Ooh,
French fries. I
yeah.
know they're so good. Just that smell of truffle. I love it.
Yeah.
So yes, that would be my
Truffle is a
guilty.
smell and a taste like none other. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that.
very acquired taste actually. Not everybody likes it. So
Yeah.
members of my family think it's disgusting that I'm eating
Really?
like
I
these
think it's a
fraud.
refined palate, and pigs have to sniff it out.
I
So
know. Crazy, right?
I like that. And on that note, do you have a favorite healthy food?
Oh, I have so many, but if I had to choose, it would probably be arugula. I love my arugula
Yes.
salad. Yeah,
I love it. It
super
has like
yummy.
a nice flavor to it.
Super
Texture.
bitter, and the bitter the better for your digestive issues, right? The bitter the better. So
That needs
yes,
to
I
be a
love it.
bumper sticker or like your
I,
slogan, the bitter the
I
better.
know. I love that.
I like that. And so we've heard some of it, but can you kind of give us what is your healthy lifestyle mantra or saying or something that you have on repeat in your head that
Hmm.
you'd like to share with us?
There's a few actually. Like you got to do the work. So like there's
Yeah.
not going to be a magic pill or a powder or just somebody that's going to do it for you. Like you really have to do the work. And I think another one too is everything matters. Like well, how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? As how you do all other things. So like everything matters. If you go for your walks in the morning, if you get that sunlight exposure, like you're eating your, people that you're eating with, right? Those healthy meals and who you're eating with, like all of these little things matter. So it's not just one thing, it's really everything that stacks up. And maybe another one is the 80-20 rule, because we are human. And so it's not what you do it's not what you do 20% of the time. So if 20% of the time I am having those truffle fries, it's okay, right?
Yeah.
It's what I'm doing consistently 80% of the time that really matters.
Mm-hmm. Those are also great. And Rita, one last fat question, pretty hot and tempting question. Was there a time when you felt maybe at your fatness, or like, again, PHAT, when you had an aha moment or something that really clicked, or one of several moments that you would like to share with us?
Yeah. So every time I do my breathwork experience, which I'm going to obviously invite you to, it's just an amazing, and we do the sharing, right? Oh, first of all, even during the experience, when everyone is just breathing. So everyone's in the room and they're laying down and they're just breathing in unison, and we sound like an orchestra. And I feel like the conductor. And it's just so amazing how everyone is just breathing to the same rhythm. And I can just sense the energy, and I can just sense the release of stuck emotions, negative emotions, just really exhaling them out of our bodies. And then when it's over, we actually do a sharing circle. And it's just so beautiful just to hear the stories, the breathwork stories. So this is where I'm just like, yes, this is why I'm here. I'm on this earth to help expand this beautiful modality of breathwork that is really free and available at our doorstep. So it's during my breathwork sessions. Yeah.
I love that. And that's when you're helping, obviously you're helping yourself, but most importantly, you're focusing on helping other people. So
Yeah.
I really love that you're seeing the kindred spiritness. That's an example of when you feel at your
Yes.
fattest, pretty hot and
Yes.
tempting, and we know that's literal but also figurative. So Rita, again, you're giving people 50% off. That is an insane discount. I'm grateful for that. Before
Thank
we
you.
wrap up, and I thank you and I say you're so awesome, can you plug your website and your discount one more time?
Yes, of course. So the website is Savoia. So it's SAV as in Victor, OIA, selfcare.com. And there's a bunch of freebies in there. And I actually forgot to mention that the freebie would be super pertaining to this episode is 9 vital breathing techniques. And it's actually going to go into these breathing techniques that we talked about. And then you can click on it. So it's a document. You can click on it and it sends you to my YouTube channel. So where there's a demonstration and you can do it along with me. So that one is going to be part of this podcast for sure. And then that 50% discount on those breathwork sessions. Let's say you want to get something for a loved one, get them the gift of breath, right? The gift of health, the gift of wellness. So really breathe 50. So that's all capitals. The promo code is going to be BREATHE 50.
Awesome. And I'll be posting all that in the description, the links. And I say that this is a wonderful gift, y'all, because sometimes people have too much stuff. My side gig is personal organizing. Don't always give people just stuff, but think about giving somebody the gift of, like Rita said, the gift of breath, the gift of health. This sounds like a wonderful gift for anybody on your list. Rita, thank you so much for sharing all this with us.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it. I'm glad the universe connected us. And I hope we can talk again one day specifically about PCOS,
Yeah.
because that's something I would like to share with everyone. But I think this is super helpful for people right now in this world, in this space, and not just for the holiday seasons, but always. So keep breathing. And Rita, thank you again.
Thank you. This was so much fun. Thank you. Love your energy, Brooke.
Thank you. I love that we're doing namaste hands for those who can't see us.
Together. Yes. In
Love
our red sweaters.
red sweaters. Thanks so much for listening, y'all. It is my hope to inspire, uplift, and entertain you with this Who's Dat Fat Girl podcast. So, if you're hungry for more, you can book me to speak or perform my solo show that inspired this podcast, Fat Girl Costumes, written by yours truly and directed by Brian Lady at your virtual or in-person event. Please visit brookehoover.com/fluffybuttproductions or email me at contactbrookhoover@gmail.com for more info. And let's follow each other on Instagram. I'm at Brooke Hoover, and the O's in my name are not the letter O, they're zeros. Not because I want to be a size 0, but because I guess I'm just so clever with my late 90s Yahoo self. And if you like this podcast, which I really hope you do, please give me a 5-star rating and write a review on Apple Podcasts. And most importantly, share this with your friends, family, and other people you may know who are as fat as we are. That's fat with a PH.